Let's go on a tour of a full sun, very young garden bed. Welcome to Joy in the Garden. This part of the garden is really showing some beautiful blooms with, to the left side, penstemon with the beautiful burgundy leaves. It's just gorgeous. And then to the right in the back, you see Walker's Low catmint. In front of the catmint, the Walker's Low variety over here is the Opening Act Ultra Pink. And I moved that just last fall to this spot. It's probably doubled in size. I plan to divide it this fall and spread it throughout this new garden bed. In the front here, we see the Ever After Veronica. Barely, you can see some purple in there, but it's getting ready to bloom. And then in a handful of places, I have a variety of dianthus. This variety is the Beauties Rebecca. Now, if I pull back a little bit here and you see the 5 kind of lime-looking small shrubs there, that's the Firelight Tidbit. I have 5 of the Firelight Tidbit hydrangea. It's a panicle, and I just planted those last year. They were pretty small. Now, where you see the cloches here is where the bunnies have done some damage. So I have some gomphrena in there that I started from seed, and we'll see if they can handle it. And then, they went after a few things back there as well. So cloches to the rescue. As I step back a little bit further, you'll see a few more of those dianthus. There's that Rebecca one repeated again, and that is a hardy geranium called Max Fry. I have that in the front yard as well, and it is in a couple different places. I divided the one in front last fall, and there we have another of the Max Fry hardy geranium. It's a lot more to bloom on that one. And in the front here is another variety of dianthus, again, just planted this year, so pretty tiny for this year. This is the variety Perennial Fancy Lilac. So hopefully that will get larger as the years progress. Now this is a queen tut grass here, and I gotta tell you, the bunnies have been eating on it, which actually surprises me. I've never had that issue before, but this year I decided to put it in the landscape. And apparently they heard me talking about it and came to get it. And then continuing down on this garden bed, this is another catmint, the Walker's Low variety. It definitely was in its prime, probably, for the past 3-4 weeks. It's looking a little more spent now. Probably maybe in about another week or so, I will cut it all the way back because I do have an Olivia rose here, and I think that this is crowding that rose a little more than I would prefer. Now, I suppose you could say I went a little dianthus happy back here, but I absolutely love the classic coral dianthus. I have it popped throughout the landscape over there as well, so I wanted to create some continuity and plant it here as well. And then I have 3 green velvet boxwoods. Pretty small, but healthy looking, and they will look much better as the years go on. Now the tall plant with the balls on top, that is the Ambassador Allium. But those leaves are pretty spent by this point. I mean, it's pretty purple, but it's about ready to, go out of season. I will wait until the leaves down at the bottom are yellowed before I remove them. I will remove the long stem, that's no problem, but the plant actually gets energy from the leaves at the bottom, and we want it to go through the whole photosynthesis process. So I'll wait till it's at least 50% yellow. And these Baptisia have already bloomed. They were gorgeous, but I just want to show you this is the lemon meringue variety, but as a bush, it's just beautiful. Now I probably will come in here and cut those seed heads off just, for how it looks, but it's kind of a blue-green color, but just really a pretty bush, beautiful in bloom, and a beautiful bush when it's not in bloom. And on the left bottom there is Fine Wine Weigela. And I just think that deep burgundy color is just beautiful, and it's a great contrast in this bed here. And it's hard to miss the midnight sun Weigela. So I have 1, 2, 3 of them. So they get this beautiful glow. The more sun they have, the more of that beautiful red and orange that scatters throughout the bush. They say very small. I think maybe 1.5 by 1.5 or something like that. Perfect for front of the border. So I'm actually in the middle of the garden bed at this point, but I just had to point out the coneflower because bunnies just eat my coneflowers down every single year. I protected this one with a cloche until it was like leaning over inside the cloche. I believe this is the pale purple variety. Once they get a certain size, usually the bunnies leave them alone. But I just think it's such a cute flower. So, so, so cute. And behind all of this here, I do have 6 Pinky Winky hydrangeas. So the larger ones, I have 3 of that right there, there, and right here. So they are kind of the background to this garden. And then behind there, I put some very small 3 Pinky Winky shrubs as well, just to really kind of create a good backdrop as the years go on. Now I'm standing right now in the back of this border bed, and I'm doing that because this is what I consider where I go shopping. So, for instance, I have an agastache right there, blue boa. I have some sedum there. I have some butterfly weed plant over here. I have a bubble bath. Those are all too short to be seen from the front of the garden, but these are plants that, quite honestly, I didn't know what to do with them, and I wanted them, so I bought them, and this is kind of what I call my shopping area. I have also started quite a few seeds. That's the Cosmo apricota, and you can see some of those are coming up. So I've just put some, I guess, cut flowers that I've started from seed in this back area as well. So I love having a place that I can kind of, go shopping for plants in my own garden for free. And the other new addition to this garden bed is this beautiful maple. This is a North Wind maple. It is from the Jack Frost collection, and it is a hybrid between a Japanese and a Korean maple. Isley Nursery. I'm very excited for it. It is intended to be hardier than a Japanese maple, which some people in my zone have Japanese maples. That said, I'd be nervous every winter. So this is great that there is a hardier version. And just for comparison, the Baptisia that I showed you over there was 3 lemon meringue Baptisias. This is the blueberry sundae variety, probably about a third of the size. I planted this one last fall, and the lemon meringue that I was showing you, it's out of bloom, but there are 3 of them. I planted that a year ago. So the Baptisia will get to a large, well, kind of its full size within a year. At least that's my experience. So at the end of this garden bed, I also added a couple of the green velvet boxwoods. And here's the north wind that we were just talking about. And in this front area here, it looks a little sparse. That's because there's a lot of newer plants that are going to need a year to kind of mature. So I did plant a purple fountain grouse. That's what this is right here. And that will get very large and really fill in this space nicely. One of my absolute favorite perennials that is actually coming out next year, the Nepeta Lemon Perfection. So Walter's Garden sent me a sample, and it is a Nepeta or Catmint. That's the same thing, Nepeta, Catmint, same thing. Same type of variety. Imagine, this is a kitten around Nepeta variety. Imagine that with chartreuse foliage. So you can see some of the flowers. For whatever reason, I actually saw a couple of the same variety at Lowe's, which is crazy. They probably just had some kind of limited, delivery or something like that. But what it's going to just be gorgeous. I mean, it's pretty small right now, but it will get larger and I think just really add so much. Those pops of chartreuse add so much to the garden. And the last thing I got to point out, I have 3 GMs here. These are the banana daiquiri varieties. If you have not discovered GMs, GEUM, go out and get you some GMs. Look at that foliage. So in spring, they had beautiful light yellow flowers just dancing above that, but the flowers are done now. But look at the foliage. That's perfect front of the garden foliage for all season. So thank you very much for joining me on this tour. And you know, when we start new garden beds, it's tough. We don't have patience. We want things to grow really fast. So I am trying to have patience with this new garden bed. It definitely ended up a little bigger than I intended, but boy, it makes me happy. So if I can be patient enough to make sure I'm growing what I really love, I think this is going to be just an absolutely magnificent garden. I hope you all have a great day.